Hi, everyone. Today I want to share with you a deeply personal story of survival, resilience, and hope. It's a story that needs to be heard, especially for anyone who might be feeling lost, alone, or trapped in the darkness of postpartum psychosis. This is the story of Emma, a mother who faced unimaginable challenges but found her way back to the light. Emma's journey began in the spring of 2022 when she unexpectedly became pregnant with her son, Noah. What should have been a joyful time in her life quickly turned into a nightmare. From the very beginning, Emma was plagued by severe hyperemesis gravidarum, a condition that caused her to vomit over 30 times a day. Imagine that for a moment, being unable to keep any food or water down, feeling constantly nauseous, and losing the energy to even get out of bed. Emma's life came to a standstill. She had to quit her job, and any semblance of normalcy was ripped away as she was confined to her room, isolated from the world, with nothing but a trash can by her side. Friends and family continued with their lives, but Emma felt like she was living in her own private hell. The loneliness was overwhelming, and she was hospitalized 3 times for dehydration, each time feeling more hopeless than the last. After months of suffering, the day finally came for Noah's arrival. But instead of the relief and joy that Emma had hoped for, her labor turned into another traumatic experience. She was in labor for 36 hours, a grueling ordeal that left her physically and emotionally drained. To make matters worse, her epidural was misplaced, causing her to black out with her ears ringing and providing little to no relief from the pain. The nursing staff was indifferent, dismissing her cries for help, leaving Emma to feel abandoned and uncared for. As if the trauma of childbirth wasn't enough, Emma faced even more challenges in the weeks that followed. She experienced severe pain from second-degree tears that occurred during delivery, and just when she thought she couldn't take any more, her stitches spontaneously broke while she was feeding Noah. The pain was excruciating, and it felt like her body was betraying her. When Noah was 6 weeks old, Emma started having intense gallbladder attacks. The pain was unbearable, and she was rushed to the hospital for emergency surgery to remove her gallbladder. By this point, her milk supply had dried up, and she was unable to continue breastfeeding. The physical pain was relentless, but the emotional pain was even worse. Noah, who was supposed to be her bundle of joy, was suffering from severe colic. He cried for hours on end, and nothing seemed to soothe him. Emma and her husband, Tom, took turns bouncing Noah on a yoga ball, the only thing that provided a tiny bit of relief for their son. But they were both at their breaking point, crying alongside their baby, feeling utterly helpless. When Tom's 6-week paternity leave came to an end, and he had to return to work, Emma felt like she was drowning. The darkness that had been creeping in since Noah's birth finally consumed her. Emma fell into a deep depression. She was living in what felt like perpetual night, where even the brightest days were clouded in darkness. Every step, every word, every breath was painful. She felt no love for Noah, only fear and resentment. The joy that mothers are supposed to feel for their newborns was completely absent. She couldn't recognize herself anymore. Emma felt like she had become a monster, someone who didn't deserve to be a mother. Her thoughts were consumed by guilt and self-loathing. She convinced herself that Noah deserved better, that Tom deserved better, and that everyone would be better off without her. She spent countless hours online, pouring her heart out in forums, desperately searching for someone who could understand what she was going through, but finding little comfort. Then, the suicidal thoughts began. At first, they were fleeting, but soon they became a constant presence in her mind. Every object in her environment became a potential means of escape. The medicine cabinet, the kitchen knives, her car, the belts in her closet. It was as if the world was closing in on her, and all she could think about was finding a way out. But it didn't stop there. Emma started hearing voices, people talking in her house when there was no one there. At night, she heard footsteps and doors opening and closing, even though she was alone. Her mind began to play tricks on her. She saw rats and bugs scurrying across the floor when there were none. The paranoia set in, and she became convinced that her baby monitor was picking up secret government signals, that her Google Home was recording her, and that the authorities would come to arrest her at any moment. Emma was spiraling, and it all culminated in an attempt to end her life. Fortunately, she was found in time and was admitted to the hospital. What followed was 6 weeks of intense treatment. She was diagnosed with postpartum psychosis, a condition she had never heard of before. The doctors told her that she had treatment-resistant depression, and later, she was also diagnosed with borderline personality disorder. The road to recovery was long and arduous, but Emma was determined to fight for her life. She worked closely with her therapist, her psychiatrist, and even a marriage counselor. It wasn't easy. There were days when she wanted to give up, when the weight of the world felt too heavy to bear. But slowly, very slowly, the darkness began to lift. Months passed, and with each one, Emma felt a little bit lighter, a little bit more like herself. She learned how to manage her stress, how to cope with the overwhelming emotions that had once controlled her. She found strength in the love and support of her family, and most importantly, she found love for her son. It took 2 years, but now, Noah is the light of her life. Emma cherishes every moment they spend together, whether it's going on mini adventures to the zoo, exploring parks around the city, or visiting museums. There are still hard days when the darkness tries to creep back in. But Emma knows now that she is not helpless. She has the tools and the support she needs to persevere, to weather the storm until the sun shines again. And she wants everyone who is struggling to know that they are not alone. If you're listening to this and you're feeling lost, if the darkness feels too overwhelming to bear, know that there is hope. Emma's story is proof that you can survive, that you can find your way back to the light. You are stronger than you know, and you deserve a life full of love and joy. Reach out, seek help, and don't give up. Emma is proud of the parent you are, and she wants you to know that it's going to be all right. Thank you for listening to Emma's story. If you or someone you know is struggling with postpartum psychosis or any mental health challenges, please reach out for help. There is support out there, and you don't have to go through this alone. Remember, you are stronger than the darkness, and you deserve a life full of love and light.